Marjorie Schulman. I'm the executive director of Brooklyn Boatworks. I'm so thrilled to bring you Young Voices, True Stories tonight, a name which was voted on by the storytellers who you will hear from tonight. And the alumni who you'll hear from tonight have been working on their stories for about a month. They've been working with each other to choose and refine stories. If you're new to Brooklyn Boatworks, we're a youth development organization that teaches skill building and social and emotional development through maritime-centered education. And we all know, as I'm talking to you from this corner of my apartment and you're all joining us from the corner of your homes, that social isolation and not being in school is a really big deal for students right now and for all of us, frankly. But what better way to build community and learn about each other than storytelling?
Hello. So my name is Dana Garcia, and I'm going to be telling my story. I used to love going on weekend train trips with my mom and to visit our family. And picture this, 3 years ago, I am sitting at Penn Station and I am waiting for the train to arrive. And my mom's in front of me and I'm bored and exhausted. Suddenly, out of nowhere, people started screaming, "There is a bomb." And I was in shock. And I couldn't believe this was happening. And my mom immediately grabs my hand and to my understanding, we were 3 levels beneath ground. And I was really scared at that moment. And I wasn't sure what we were gonna do at that moment. So we passed the first floor. It was easy because we were able to just pass by some staircases. But the last 2 floors, they were electric escalators, so it was going to be really difficult to go up the electric escalators. And there was a bunch of people crying, screaming, and trying to save their lives. And it was very chaotic at that moment. So me and my mom, she was grabbing the straps of my backpack and holding on really tightly. She wasn't letting go. And I could see how we were going up the electric escalators. And at that moment, it was like when the Titanic is about to sink. And I was so scared. And I thought everyone was about to die, including me. And I was able to turn around and look at all the people around me and going up the escalators. And I could see how a man got stuck due to his pants getting stuck on the electric escalators. And he was shouting out, "Help me!" And no one was helping him because he was by himself and everybody was trying to save their lives. And from a far distance, I could see how some kids were lost and left behind by their parents because they were by themselves and they were crying really bad. And at that moment, with all the strength I had left, I was screaming, "Calm down," because I thought it was going to decrease the panic and the tension in the building, in the room.
Hi, my name is Benny. So here's my story. This will be the most important day of your life, filled with big opportunities and granted with a better future. Are the words that my father said as we headed off to the driveway at my grandma's house. That was 3 years ago, back in Cameroon, located in Africa. I was 9 back then, and I remember overhearing my parents as I was sitting in the living room right after coming back from another day of school. The people were nice there. They were pretty decent, and um, I remember overhearing my parents talking about going to a trip to New York. I questioned, New York? Uh, And then sometime later, I was wondering and wondering. The next day, I head up to my parents and asked them, where is New York? Where is New York? They say, um, they end up saying it's it's the place where we traveling. Traveling? I asked. Why? And soon I ended up bombarding them with so many questions. They said until they said you'll figure when you'll see it. The line was pretty long, and I also had enough time to play with with my cousins for the last time. And then and then we we had to say goodbye soon after the line was getting close and it was about to be our turn. And so we got a new receptionist, and she also was having trouble and technical difficulties having to read the passports. And so which means we also had to stay for a while, or maybe one, or at least one could sign some more of the paperworks, and have the rest of the family leave off to the airplane. And so I really I was real this really scared me that it's actually the airplane was gonna have to leave in 5 minutes. What if he what So I thought, what if he didn't make it? What if the paperworks are so long he actually ends up staying? He was really willing to come to come to New York. I really don't want to leave him. He's my dad. And he also had to carry my sister along. I really didn't want to add more people to the list of having to miss them. And so I clinged on to my mom in fear of getting lost in the crowd, and my stomach was getting pretty was starting to ache. We got As we got inside the airplane, I looked around. It was really crowded, and I I looked around. Dad was nowhere to be found, and so I asked Mom, "Do you know where Dad is?" She couldn't reply, and so I asked, "Where are my siblings?" She said, "They're at the seat right in front of us." So I I decided to ask them if they knew. Do you know where that is? And so um one of them one of them just so casually actually answered, "He's right over there at the front." I couldn't actually see him. It was still crowded, and so I kept staring at the area if I could see that if that was still there. And soon there he was. And then I let out a relief sigh and back down to my seat.
Hello, everyone. Uh, I like to start my story by saying I'm the luckiest guy I know. Between Brooklyn Boatworks, which is an opportunity, which is a gift that just keeps on giving with so many opportunities and adventures, and getting into a nationally ranked high school, uh, and then getting into an amazing Czech program. Everything has just sort of worked out for me. So this track program of mine has like 150 to almost 200 kids, and it's very competitive. It's very competitive, and everybody there is like brothers and sisters to me. So one day, it's a beautiful day on the track, and my coach is doing roll call, and he calls everybody up, and he says, our team got into counties, which is really big because county championships are, it's really selective and competitive to get into, and it's hard. So he excuse me, he tells us, he goes through the list of kids who got in, and he finally gets down to my team, the 4x2, which is a relay where 4 kids hand off a baton after 200 meters. And he tells us that Chris, Jack, and Anthony and Michael got into 4x2 relay. And I was initially overjoyed by this. I was like, this is a huge accomplishment. And I was just on cloud 9. I was floating. So that initial enjoyment and excitement faded, because then I realized my team was not qualified to go in. I mean, this was the big leagues, and I was just completely overwhelmed with anxiety and fear. So I immediately got to work. I stayed late after practice every day until like 6 p.m. and I would hit the gym and I would practice my starts, and I do all this in hopes that I'd finally be qualified to really race against these, I guess, titans. But then I realized that I'm the only one there staying late. My team was not there with me. And you can't run a relay on one person. So I talked to them, and it was as if they didn't care, or they didn't seem to be as excited as I was. So staying late and doing all this, it almost felt just for nothing. So the weeks go by, and counties approaches, and I'm training and I'm going, and then it finally comes to the day. And you'd expect it to be a gloomy day or a rainy day of sorts, because all this anxiety and fear building up, you'd think. Excuse me. But it was not. It was a beautiful day, and we get on the bus, and I'm sitting next to these guys, and I'm trying to talk down to them, be like, hey, everything has led up to this. So we finally get off, and we enter St. Anthony's, which is a huge complex, and it's beautiful in there. And the hours go by, races after race, and my race just happened to be last. And I go downstairs to try to calm myself. And downstairs, I can do warm-ups, and I can do warm-ups, and I can practice my starts. And I'm trying to talk to my teammates and tell them, like, hey, come with me, but they did not. So this only added to the fact that I felt completely unprepared to do this race.
Dana, how did you choose your story?
I chose my story by thinking about an impactful event that happened throughout my life. So that was one of them. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There.
That's perfect. Benny, what about you? How did you choose your story?
I chose my story because it gave me a big sense of nostalgia when I think about it. It's really not like the other days.
It's true. It's a very special day. Thank you, Benny. And you did a great job with it. Fantastic. And Michael, how did you choose your story?
I chose my story because I thought about a turning point in my life and where I learned to stop doubting myself.
Wonderful. Well, it was beautiful, and you showed it. They all did what one of the things we teach in storytelling is to show, not tell. And you can see how they all gave us these beautiful scenes so we could be there with them. Anybody want to raise your hand and tell us what you learned from Brooklyn Boatworks? I think we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but if anybody wants to, yes, Elizabeth, go for it. Yes.
I guess it's how, like, making friends with new kids that you don't know from what different type of schools.
Thank you. Anybody else want to raise their hand on that one? Michael?
I love that Brooklyn Boatworks is like always trying to get us involved. Like I haven't participated in like in a while. I haven't been with Brooklyn Boatworks, but they're always coming back to me and inviting me to do things like this, which is an amazing opportunity. And they're always teaching like from public speaking to leadership skills and making friends with everybody. So
Excellent. Yay, thank you. We got to make it as much like we're live as we can.
Thank you for everybody for joining us tonight. And we want to remind you that if you would like to support any of the work that we do here at Brooklyn Boatworks, please log on to brooklynboatworks.org. Please support the work that we're doing so we can keep going. Please support the work of these young people.